Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of Learning from Men podcast by Men of Jesus. My name is Hetty Coleman. Today I'm with the one and only Sean Johnson. I'll let him tell a little bit more about himself, but the quick story is I've known Sean for a very long time, and while Sean was still in the military, had somebody tell me about this amazing man who has some incredible vocals that potentially could partner with us to be able to reach more people for the kingdom of God and through outreaches. And I invited him, and I think he was an hour early. He beat everybody there, and I was like, "Oh man, this is different. This is a different kind of guy." Hey?
That's hilarious.
but but as time went on,
Yeah, I got comfortable.
he wasn't as early as he once was, ladies and gentlemen. He was not as early as he once was.
You met
Sean,
my
do you remember
representative.
that? Do you
Mm,
do you
I
remember
do
that?
remember that. You met my representatives in the first couple months. That wasn't real news. Once I got comfortable, it was like, all right.
Enough of this. Enough of this.
Yeah, nothing wrong. Trying to let me hear about it a little bit.
Hey, when we first met, had you had an album fully done yet?
I was working on one. I had started working on one.
Okay.
It was not officially out. Because my first release was at Poetry Nights, at We Tell Stories Poetry Night. My first
Okay.
official album release. So yeah.
Yep.
So I was in the
Yeah,
process
yeah.
of putting together an album when we met. So yeah, you got the raw version
That's
of me,
cool.
man. That was a different boy back
You
then. He was he was good, not in a bad way, but just like my motivation, my grind, like my enthusiasm. Like I hit the ground running, man. I had time, opportunity, I had resources. I was like, let's get it. Let's get
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Um, uh, one of the things that when I talk to people now about We Tell Stories specifically is like not really recognizing how early a lot of that was for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was my first time ever performing on stage, or
Yeah.
I my first, there was a lot of that I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I
It
felt
was
like a lot of us
vital.
had
It
been
was
doing it.
extremely vital, especially for an artist. Like, when you're trying to grow a fan base, when you're trying to get better at your craft, you need reps. And a lot of times,
Yeah,
if you're not a solidified artist, a lot of people won't welcome you to their stage. But it's like we had every month, we knew we had a place we could go and sharpen our skills in front of a live audience and build it and
yeah,
build a fan base. Man, that's invaluable. Like to be able to have that type of community to grow in iron sharpen iron, like man, it became a hub for us. And I think for artists, you need that because a lot of times you're doing it by yourself and you don't know where to go. You don't know what you don't know. So like to have a community like that during that time, man, it was worth more than it's invaluable. It was absolutely
yeah.
invaluable. Yeah.
And it's cool now to see a lot of you all
Mhm.
still working together in different, I feel like the Urban Bridge is like the
Yeah.
new We Tell Stories in
Yeah.
a different way.
No, we collectively it's come on over to the death row, man. We got everybody over there. We got yeah, it's no, I think that it's really dope because it was like our college. It was like our we get to look back on that like those are our formative years almost. It was like, man, like
Yeah,
that was our class. Like that was our class. We got to and now you get to see a lot of those fruits of that labor that we put in. Like who are the people in the city that are doing things that are moving and shaking essentially. So
yeah.
it was our class, it was our group. So
I think about, thinking about learning from men. I wonder sometimes about the next generation of young men, the next Sean Johnson, Marcus Jackson.
yeah.
What were they, because a lot of that base was not just about being an artist. I think a lot of that was the community. There was
Uh-huh.
this community building that happened. There was this community engagement that happened through those events as well.
Absolutely.
And I just think about sometimes like where is that opportunity for young men, young women too,
Yeah.
um, now in the sense of like just bigger than artists, but developing relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
One of the things that we did at We Tell Stories, this ain't a We Tell Story podcast, but we opened up with go connect with 5 people for
Yeah.
5 minutes and connect,
Go
share
meet
stories
somebody.
with each
Yeah.
other.
Go meet
Yeah,
somebody. No, I think that I was reading something a while back where they said essentially a third place. And We Tell Stories was that third place, was like you have home, work, and we had a third place, like someplace, a community, not a community center, but essentially it was that for adults. Like we had a
yeah,
place where we could go and be consistently in the same place. Because once you leave school, that type of environment, it is very rare to find that. Especially as men, like we have to be intentional about that because it doesn't naturally just happen. I was fortunate. I was in the military, so that became a hub, essentially a connection point. But that was work. So a lot of people, they find their friends from either home or work in their community. So it's like
yeah,
that third place for us, it became essentially, it was invaluable. Like, and I think as men, you need to be able to have that place. Yeah, men and women. Yeah, you need that. You absolutely need
yeah, yeah, you need that community.
that.
Sean, tell us, family, siblings, like, tell us
Yeah.
growing up, what was it like for Sean?
So I am the second oldest of six, but there is a 16-year gap between me and the the twins that came after me. So I was like a brother uncle almost. Like I was like an older brother but an uncle at the same time. But man, I had a really dope childhood. It was full of church, music, family. And I always say like I am an extension of my family. Like I stand on their shoulders. I tell them that all the time. Like I am who I am because of them. And I don't take that for granted. Like I gleaned a lot from them. Whenever I stepped on stage, whenever I was in the public eye, I represented my family. I carried that with me. How they saw the world, how they approached the world, their sense of humor, like all these little things, like I carried that with me. And it goes back to the whole community thing. Like I needed that. Like nobody hangs a banner by themselves. And like I, as a man, like we need other men. We need other people. We cannot do this by ourselves. Like, and then like if you gain anything from what I've said the first 15 minutes, like we need people. Like we need other people. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
good.
outside I grew up, I was born in Tampa, but I was an army brat. So my dad, he joined the army shortly after I was born, and we moved around a lot, man. Germany, Georgia, Philly, Kentucky, Indiana, Germany again. Man, there was one year I went to 4 different schools. Like, and
Wow.
it was insane. But I think so there was good and bad with it. Like I think I'm fortunate at a young age, I got to see that the world was so much bigger than my backyard. But at the same time, like I don't have any childhood friends. Like most of my friends are I met as an adult. So but I do know how to navigate different environments. Like again, I got to see that the world was so much bigger. I got to dream. And that was huge. That was really huge. And I try to do that now in the work that I do at the bridge. So just passing that on. But man, like I said, I grew up around music. And I'm grateful for that gift because that gift essentially opened so many doors for me, man. Like I cannot
Yeah.
thank God enough for the gift of being able to sing and write and be able to express that. Like, man, like, and music isn't even my main source of income now, but it has provided so much for me, man. Like, I can't, and I think a lot of it goes back to stewardship. Like, that's one thing. If my life has been a textbook, just example of what stewardship looks like, you take this one little gift and it opens up. If you steward that one gift, like there's so many tools that you're able to gain around that one gift that open up different pathways. And I think that's to me, if I ever have, I mean, I'll pass it on to my daughter, but like specifically my son, like being able to pass that on to him, like that mindset of like whatever gift you have, wherever you're at, grow. Like wherever you're planted, grow. And I think yeah, that coming out here to Oklahoma, I would have never thought that my life would look like this. But it started with that
Yeah.
first step. All right, the first step, I knew I was joining the Air Force. I'm gonna steward that as best as I can. And then when the next opportunity comes, I'm gonna steward. But that's the thing. Like in me stewarding the first step, which was me joining the Air Force, I that was my pathway into music because I started doing the national anthem. Like I started singing the national anthem. And then the coworker of mine, he was working at a studio, part time taking an engineering class. And he invited me to the studio. I went there, met you from the guy that was at the studio. Like, and it's like those, but it all started with that first step of just like, all right, this is what I have in front of me. I'm gonna steward this the best that I can. And whatever doors
Yeah.
open up from that, because like most people don't know what they're gonna be at a young age. When you graduate high school or even like from a young as a kid, like I wanted to be an astronaut. That was not happening by the time I became an adult. So it's like what dreams do I have? Like in basketball, basketball was my first dream. So I failed at that. I was 5'9". Like I'm not going anywhere. So it's like, what am I gonna do with my life? And I think we always talk about purpose and all that, but I think it really boils down to stewardship. Like I assess what gifts, talents, interests, and passions you have and go from there. Like and actually whatever you put your heart to and mind to, the scripture talks about that, like do it with all your might. Like, and I think that is literally the story of my life. Like it started with just, okay, I'm here, I'm gonna grow where I'm planted. I ended up in Oklahoma of all places, but it's like here I am, and like I feel like Oklahoma's in their golden age, and I've been here, been able to sow seeds here, and now we get to reap the harvest of this golden age. And it's like none of that happens if I don't steward it from the beginning. So, but yeah, I said a lot,
Right.
but I hope, yeah, but yeah,
No, that's good.
yeah,
Um, I was thinking about whenever you transitioned out of high school into going into the military,
hmm
like, was that scary for you? Like,
absolutely,
when did you recognize, like, you were gonna go to the military? Or
yeah,
because you being a military brat, was it like,
yeah.
"Oh, this is just what we do?"
So it was equal parts scary because I was going out on my own. This is my first time being I'm an adult. Like I'm responsible for me. And I left the day after I graduated. Like I graduated May 30th, May 31st. I was on the plane heading to San Antonio. So it's like there was no transition. I was just like, I graduated, I'm an adult. Like, so like it was that part was scary, but I was fortunate because I was familiar with the I guess the culture of the military. So that helped as far as going into it. But I mean, you don't know it unless you're in it. Like, and there were so many
Yeah.
lessons I didn't know until I got in it. But I will say my upbringing and the foundation that I had before I went to the Air Force definitely played a huge part in me being successful while I was in the Air Force and in life after that. But I think yeah, like I was definitely scared. I mean, I don't know what I don't know. I don't. I'm miles away from home. Like, it's on me. Like, if it doesn't happen, if I'm not successful, it's on me at this point. So it's yeah, there was definitely some fear, but it was exciting too. It's like, all right, I get to carve my own path and do my thing now. Like, I get
Yeah.
to this game. I'm in the game now. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, for sure, for sure. Also, I was thinking about your basketball career that was short-lived. Uh,
Now
as a
I knew
military
my
brat,
sophomore year. I knew it was over for me. I was like, I gotta find something else, bro.
yeah, right, that's it.
This ain't
I
gonna
was
work.
just thinking how hard I was just thinking how hard it would be to develop that as a military brat, because a lot of
Yeah.
basketball for athletes is like being able to be still
hmm
and
Yeah,
really
no,
develop
like I said,
yourself.
I wasn't able to build up those resources like over time. Like me being in Oklahoma, this is the longest I've lived anywhere in my entire life. It's 20 plus years now. But being here this long, I know where to go if I need anything. And like that comes
Yeah.
with being stationary and being planted somewhere. But like I didn't have that as a kid. Like I didn't know where to go when I got to a city. All right, where the games at? Like I was trying to find a basketball hoop. Like those things are invaluable. Like and when you miss that time, it's a short window like to develop like that. And I did not have it. So yeah.
Now, one of the thing about that this oftentimes said about men is like we can have a tendency to isolate,
Hmm.
and because you were bouncing around and maybe not being able to really develop long friendships or whatever the case
Yeah,
may be, did you fight that once you got to a place and found yourself
man.
settling in, or did you immediately go into connecting with men?
So it was an answered prayer for me to find the friends that I have, and they've been my lifelong friends, or since I've met them. And we met shortly after we all got to Tinker Air Force Base. But I didn't have a choice. They came and got me. So like I was like they were very much extroverted, and they were like, "Hey, you're with us now. Come on."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think even in that was definitely God's provision. Because I mean, I know outside of that, I probably, to your point, I would have been a typical loner. I would have just whatever was available, whatever friendships were available, I would have gravitated towards those. But man, I found some really solid people. They invited me to church. It was like, all right, you with us now. And it's like those have been my brothers literally ever since. And I remember when I got to my dorm, it's funny, the guy who was supposed to pick me up from the airport, he wasn't answering his phone, so I had to catch a cab. So I'm just out here to the gate, to the gates of Tinker Air Force Base. Like here I am, just freshly out of basic training, showing up with all my bags at the gate. So they finally figured out. They got me to a room. I get settled, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I know no one here. I'm literally here by myself. And I prayed a short prayer. I said, God, don't leave me by myself. That was my prayer. I said,
Yeah.
"Don't leave me by myself." And I literally have built so many friendships here in Oklahoma, man. It's like to see that prayer just be answered over and over again. It's just like the community that I've been able to build. It's amazing, man. So yeah, answer prayer for
How
sure.
long how long did it take you to, feel like this was home? Like,
Man,
when was that for you, like, "Oh, this is home"?
wow. I think shortly after I got out the Air Force, because I had a choice to either go somewhere else or stay here. And I was just like, I don't want to go anywhere else. Like I want to be here. And like it goes back, like I had finally been somewhere long enough to build up, friendships, community, resources, all these things. I was like, I don't want to start over. I don't want to start over
Fair.
again. I'm just like, nah, I'm staying here. And I do remember I was scheduled to get out, and um actually no, I was supposed to be getting I was supposed to be getting sent somewhere else. I was supposed to be getting PCS to another station, California, I believe. And I remember praying like, God, like I don't want to move. And out of my hands, God was able to move that situation. They canceled the orders, and I ended up being able to stay here. And I was just like, okay, this is home. like, like you heard me, you allowed me to stay here. Like there's obviously a reason I'm supposed to be here, man. And it's been nothing but a blessing ever since. Like to be able to put down roots here. Um, like I said, I feel like Oklahoma City is in their golden age, and I've been here. Um, I don't get to come in on the back end. I was here, laying the foundation essentially.
Yeah,
So that's always dope. So yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's really cool.
Hmm.
Hey, if there was a man that you could have dinner with, who when you were younger, who would that be?
Mm. That I could have dinner with. Mm.
Outside of Jesus.
Probably I'm gonna say Kobe Bryant.
Okay. What are y'all
Cause
talking about?
man, what it takes, the mindset that it takes to be successful at that level, like as a professional athlete. Like I don't think I knew that as a kid. I don't think I knew the amount of work, the amount of dedication, the perseverance that it would take to really be an athlete, a professional athlete. And I think had I known that, like had that information been expressed to me and expounded to me, like, hey man, listen, it's fun. Everybody want to make it to the NBA, but like, don't nobody, not everybody wants to put in the work that it takes to make it to the NBA. So it's like, had that been, had I had somebody around, and not, this is not a shot at anybody in my life, like, these men were passionate and gifted in other areas. Sports was not their concern, so that was my passion. So, but I think had I known what it would take, I would have. I think that would have been another opportunity for me to steward, like another gift for me to steward, essentially. So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
Kobe, I would have loved to have
yeah,
met and spoken to Kobe just because I felt like his approach to um just his craft, his passion was just inspiring, I think. So yeah. Mhm.
yeah. The stories that you hear about him, like, and similar to other great athletes,
Mhm.
you walk in the gym at 5 in the morning, he's already there. Those kind of
Full
things
sweat.
are,
Yeah, 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 man. Like,
yeah,
but I think that
yeah,
separation, like, I would have loved to have seen what I could do with his passion or his mindset. But also, I think in the pursuit of certain things, people do sacrifice what's important. And I think you do see that specifically family. So I would have loved to have seen what that pursuit of a goal would look like with still prioritizing family. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Like, so
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
for sure.
but I think I know because I hear people say like, in order to be great at this, you have to literally just sacrifice everything else. But it's like I don't necessarily believe that. Like, I think there's a how do I want to phrase it? I think there is yeah, your goals are different. How you view success becomes different. So it's not I don't have to win the 5 championships if my family loves me. Like if they know who I am. Like so I think it's just putting that value, being able to pursue an athletic passion or just anything really, but still prioritizing family. And I think I'm I've tried to mirror that with my music and just my other artistic passions. Like um I have a new phrase now. It's called paper crowns. And essentially, anytime someone or anytime I read something or get this feeling that I want to chase a goal or achieve something, I always remind myself, is this a paper crown? Like, or is this a crown that's gonna last forever? Like, and it's like
So that,
prioritizing. Okay, like, yeah, that might be it's a crown, but it's like it's a paper crown. So it's like I don't want to put all my emotions. If I don't get it, it's okay. Like I'm prioritizing majoring into major things, and that makes sense. So yeah,
yeah, no, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Do you think, so let me ask you this, would you have, let's say if you had that mentality of Kobe,
Hmm.
and I know you were committed to music and everything, and you could apply that to any passion that you have, would you have picked music?
Mm, I don't think I would have.
Because
I think
I know you love filmmaking, I know you love basketball as well,
I do.
like,
I think,
what would you have applied it?
man, I think it was probably divine that I failed at my first 2 careers. It was with basketball. Well, not failed, but basketball I definitely failed at. But the military was my second career, and I ended up getting medically discharged. So like failure, I'm not where I am without failure. Like I think having
Mm,
knowing what failure feels like, and having to learn from that and having that drive you, like that's an invaluable thing. Like, but it's part of the journey. Like you have to fail. Like you have to try, fail, to try again. But like I don't think I have the same drive that I have with music. Um, if I had not failed at basketball, if I had not failed at the military. Does that make sense? Like I think by the time
yeah,
because music was my third career essentially. So it's like, all right, this gotta work. Has to work. Like I don't have anything else to fall back on. Like, but I think I have to steward this well. I have to do well by this. Like this is my opportunity.
yeah,
And I think I knew
yeah.
that. I'm grateful for that more than anything. So I don't know. I don't know if basketball had worked out. Um, I mean, I'm sure I would have learned failure in different ways. Like, I mean, because it's part of the game. Like, you win, you lose. So I think
Yeah.
I would have learned that lesson, but I don't think I would have pursued music with the same passion. had I not failed at those
Yeah.
other things. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what is one thing, no, 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 no. Looking back, what is one thing you wish someone would had told you about being a man when you were younger?
mm, um, what I wish they would have told me. Um, I feel like I got a lot of good advice as a kid. So I'm trying to think. I felt really prepared when I became an adult. Like, not, I mean, I didn't know everything, but I felt there was a confidence that I had that I was like, um, I'm not gonna get out here and embarrass my parents. So like, I'm gonna do all right. I mean, I'm gonna do all right. I'm trying to think, what I wish. Oh, that, yeah, you don't have to rush. I think it's gonna take time.
Mm,
Like your 20s, you're gonna be building for your 30s, and you're not gonna see the results of your fruit of your work in your 20s into your 30s. You're not gonna see the results
mhm.
of your work in your 30s into your 40s. I think if someone would have told
Yeah.
me that, I think that would have gave me, um, I wouldn't have felt as rushed or even behind, because I think, yeah, it was like I was building my life for my 30s and my 20s, but I felt like it, my life should have looked a certain way, but it didn't. It was just like I felt behind. But like now in my 40s, it's like I see the fruit of everything that I was doing, and it almost happened all at once. It was just like in the last post pandemic, man, my life is 180. It's completely different in a good way. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. What do you think are like as a man for you, like what are some defined wins that you have now?
Mm,
Especially now that you're married,
yeah,
father. What are some defined wins that you have for yourself? Maybe they're not written down, but
yeah.
just
No,
kind of in your heart.
I know one of the biggest wins is my diligence in my sexual purity as a single man. Like being able to fight that fight as a single man, and to, there were some losses here and there, but to ultimately win that fight, and to be able to come into my marriage with not a lot of baggage, like that to me is probably one of the biggest wins, I think, because I just see the benefit. Um, I tell people all the time, like my mama was correct. Like holiness is right. Like it's right, bro. Like
Yeah.
living by those certain principles and guiding yourself by the Bible, the wisdom that is found in the
Yeah.
Bible. I see the benefits of that now. And as a young man, I'm glad that I chose the path that I chose, like of trying to pursue righteousness. Like it's just rampant throughout my life now. I just see it everywhere. It's just like, man, like I'm glad I did. Like I'm so glad I stuck to my guns. I didn't compromise, and not just in the um sexual purity way or in that department, but just across the board, like my morals, how I came to work, my yeah, that all that made a difference. Now that I'm a father and a husband, like I just see the benefits of that. Like being able to look my wife in the eyes and no shame, and just to honor her, and just like, and even just the provision, like the decisions that I made, the wise decisions that I made as a young man, like financially, like they're paying off now, and like being able to come into a marriage and to have that confidence, like, no, we got it, like we're okay, like that's, man, that's especially as a new husband, new father, like all these things happening. It's just like we're okay. I don't have to stress. There's a lot that I was able to kind of avoid because of wise decisions as a young man. Like that's, yeah, those fruits. The Bible is right, man. Like it's there's so much wisdom in the Bible. Like if you apply it, like it works. Like, and not that you do it for that
Yeah.
reason, but like he put it there for that reason. Like that's why he put it there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's good. And you're definitely you've been a good steward of things. When I saw that Note 10, you faithfully holding on to, I was like, this brother's a good steward of
Listen, man, it's paid off. It works. I don't
He like, "That Note 10 is paid off." Note
I'm
10
like,
probably cost
"No."
$100 back then. He's like, "It's paid off, like, it's gonna take him a
Listen, you
long
can hear
time to
me and
pay
see
off that."
me on this phone right now, like, "Hey, man, we doing the same thing. I'm with you. I'm in the room. I'm in the room." Me and my Note.
But in all honesty, like, that speaks to you being a good steward, you not moved by all the new tech, like, you may appreciate it, but you hold your ground,
Yeah, like,
and that's a lot
this
of the
gets done what I need to get done. I don't need any I
yeah,
may want certain, but it's like, I don't need it. Like,
right.
it's just like it's a paper ground, man. Like, it may satisfy for a moment, but it's not gonna last. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I
Mhm.
thought that was really like, in all honesty, like, I think that's really cool and
Yeah.
speaks to who you are and all that stuff. So you had those early defined wins, you had
Um,
those early wins. Do you have new wins now that you've gotten through that, and now
yeah,
you got this next season, like,
yeah.
what are you looking at for yourself as a man's like, "These are the new wins that I have."
Yeah, being a consistent present in my daughter's life, like, that's my next thing. Like, I wanna win at that. I wanna steward being a father well. And not to be prideful, like, but it's like I'm in charge of this human. Like, I'm in charge of her. Like, and I have to do right by her. Like, and I feel like that's a burden, not in a bad way, but it's like I'm aware, like, all right, I'm on the job. Like, this is my job. Like, I know this is my responsibility, and I want to make sure that yeah, it's also a reminder to the wins that I had, early on, to not be complacent in those, like to keep fighting those, to shore up those areas, and to not lose grounds. Like, it's always that constant reminder. It's like, okay, like, I see why God wants the head of the household to have these certain characteristics, because, like, if you are failing in these areas, like, it affects everybody. It affects everything. And it's just like, okay, like, I gotta make sure I'm where I need to be spiritually, emotionally, all these things, because, like, I'm responsible for this human. Like, and I want to be a good example for her. I want to be healthy. I want all those things, man. Like, and I want to be here for her. Like, that's my next, yeah, that's my goals. Like, that's the
Yeah,
crown I'm chasing. Like, outside of music, like,
yeah.
I was fortunate. I got to do a lot with music. Like, I tell my wife all the time, like, man, I've lived a life before you. Like, I lived in a full life. Like, I got to do a lot. And so I'm grateful for that, because, like, I don't feel an urge to chase or pursue something. And I think a lot of that is because, um, even though I'm not the biggest artist, how I went about doing it there was integrity, there was character, like, all I did it the right way. So, like, no matter where the chips may fall, if I walk away, like, I'm okay. Like, I stewarded it the best I could, because I couldn't control the results to begin with. Like, all I could control was what I was doing on my end. So it's like, if I handled that as best as I could, I'm at peace. Like, I do feel a lot of peace at this season of my life, and I think it's because I stewarded in my 20s, my 30s, and now, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really good, really good. How do you, what are some things that you will be intentional about to help you stay on the
Um,
path of moving towards these things? Like, what are some things that you have in place now or
yeah,
working towards, make sure you do that successfully?
yeah. We're in a family therapy. That's one thing that's big. Being intentional about that. Um, um, where's some other things? Yeah, not becoming complacent in my tool set. Like, always growing my tool sets. Like, as far as, like, tools that I have, skills that I have, whether it's in my marriage, my work, all those things. Like, not just resting on what I've done in the past, but just saying, okay, like, this is who am I in this season? Like, what can I offer in this season? How can I grow in this season? So yeah, keeping that at that's help for me. That's helpful. Like, having, not chasing a goal, but having goals. Like, having goals. And
Yeah.
what else? Yeah, I think on a personal level, like, being more intentional about communicating with my friends and my community, and like I've kind of been in a my own bubble since I've gotten married and had a kid, like just kind of reserved, just in my own little world. But just being more intentional about um, stewarding those friendships, because like that's something to steward. Like I'm grateful for those friendships, and they have poured into me. They have um, yeah, like having my brothers like has been, yeah, I need a space where I can let my hair down. I can just communicate and like like, yeah, like community, man. I gotta have it. Like I have to have that. And I
Yeah.
think, um, yeah, taking care of that in this season is a way for me to stay healthy mentally, all those things, spiritually. The whole iron sharpens iron thing. Like that's
Yeah.
part of it. What else? Um, yeah, I think I'm reminded of the story of David, where he ended up. They talk about how a king, if when he's not in, essentially he fell with Bathsheba because he wasn't where he's supposed to be, even in his
Yeah.
older age. Like he was supposed, kings at a certain time are supposed to go off to war and do these certain things, but he was back at home chilling. Like it was basically just a reminder, like to stay on guard in your old age. Like as you get older, like you don't want to be complacent. I think that's where I'm at. It's just like, okay, like I've built this I've been able to build a life of integrity, a good name. It's like you don't want to ruin that now. Like I think that's the goal now. It's like, okay, you built something. Now you gotta keep it. Like you gotta, and I think that takes work
Now
too.
you gotta
Yeah.
sustain it.
Yeah, I gotta maintain it. I have to maintain that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's good. Can you talk a little bit about how y'all ended up in family therapy? What does
Mhm.
that look like for you all?
Yeah.
How often do you go?
Okay.
Was it hard for you to, you know,
Yeah.
move forward with something like that?
No, it was actually pretty easy. Um it was a family decision. I think, man, life happens, and over since the pandemic, I've suffered some loss. Like I've lost my grandfather, I've lost some close friends, some coworkers, good guy, good people, and it's just like if if you don't process that, if you don't do anything with that, it could eat at you. Like if you don't have the tools to be able to process it and deal with it. So I think that became the mindset was, okay, this has happened. I have some tools, but I need more tools to deal with this. And especially being a father, a husband, like I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be at my best. So it's like, okay, I gotta go talk to somebody. We gotta go talk to somebody. We gotta make sure that we good. And we gotta be intentional about that. We can't just wait till there's a problem and then go. It's like we want to be proactive. So I think that became just our mind. Like it's literally like stewardship is the title of my life story. So it's just like trying to, okay, how can I steward my marriage, my me being a father? Like how can I make sure that I'm at my best, we're at our best, to create a healthy environment. So it yeah, it became more so about creating a healthy environment than anything.
That's
Yeah.
good. Was
Yeah.
was therapy part of your what did it look like growing up?
Man, I didn't start going to therapy till I was an adult. Like I think for the most part, therapy was a healthy adult. Being able to talk to a healthy adult, that's what it looked like for the most part. And that was my grandfather. Like having him around was kind of that pressure release for me. Just a safe place to be able to talk to somebody and express thoughts and have a sounding board. Like so, early on, it was a safe adult, but now it's more intentional with professionals and different things like that. But I still have that. You still need those safe adults, safe places to be able to go. So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
no, that's good. Yeah, it just as in the African American community,
Yeah,
growing up, you just didn't hear about therapy a lot. So,
I didn't, man. I
um,
did. I wasn't even exposed to it. I didn't even know it was an option. Yeah, until I was older. Until I was older.
yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't even on my
yeah.
radar like that. So.
Even though I think it's more prevalent now, period, across the board,
Mhm,
to have a therapist or to go to counseling.
mhm.
I mean, I feel like I'm sending somebody to counseling every other day, around something that I
Yeah,
just don't have the time to help them process
yeah.
or it's above my pay grade.
That part.
Sometimes in my role as a pastor, people think I'm supposed to be kind. I'm like, man, I don't
Hey
know nothing
man,
about. Let
listen,
me send you to
somebody went to
somebody.
school for a very long time to be able to
Yeah,
help.
let me
I
get you.
respect it, man. Yeah, I respect it.
I got a couple of good ears to listen for a couple of
That's it.
times. But other than that, I'm like,
I'm sending you
it's time for you
somebody
to
with some
go, man.
tools,
It's
man.
time for you.
I don't have the tools for that, man. I'm not ashamed. Yeah.
I don't know, not at all. I'm not ashamed at
At
all.
all.
Yeah, yeah, man. So what men thinking about therapy, thinking about you talked about some of those wins that you had coming into your marriage that allow for you to be safe. What are some things that you think men struggle with the most, but are
Um,
usually too afraid to talk about?
um, mm, I think so. It's two things in particular. I think the pressures of being a success or being a man. I think we don't talk about that. Um, or even just being a provider, like the pressures that come along with that. Because I think sometimes what happens is, um, and you have to be gentle in how you bring it up or even how you remind those in your house. But it's just like, hey, listen, like the life that we get to enjoy, I'm doing a lot of the heavy lifting on that. So I think that comes with a certain level of respect that I think most men don't always get. And I think being able to navigate that can be difficult because everybody isn't taught to respect the head of the household or to even know what that looks like. Like to hear respect, most people hear someone is domineering over me or they control me, and it's just like, no, that doesn't. That's not what that looks like. So I think people don't always have a healthy relationship with respect. So I think men end up getting the short end of the stick when it comes to that of what that looks like in a healthy way. But yeah, let me think.
Yeah, why are you thinking? Yeah,
What
I
else?
I
What's
like
up? Go
to
ahead.
I
Yeah.
go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say I like this thought of like men lacking getting the respect that they need.
Yeah.
Uh, and sometimes we don't talk about it because I don't think we even recognize that that's what it is that's missing for us.
I think that's
Like,
yeah, we don't always have the language for it. Like, and it took me some
yeah,
time to even figure out what that was. Like, it took me going through some failed relationships to realize, like, man, why do I feel like this in this relationship? Like, why don't I feel, like just all the things? And I think finding the language for it was important, was extremely important, man. But I think other things that men struggle with, obviously, and it's the a tale as old as time. Like I think just our sexual desires, like I think being able to win that fight, and even learning how to fight that fight. I think more importantly, because like I think the Bible speaks like it's the one sin you says run. Like don't even standing there fighting ain't really the it's not really a fight so much as just a sprint. So it's
you
like
gonna lose. Stand there and fight if you want to. You're gonna lose.
you're gonna lose. So it's like I think learning, getting the tools to be honest with that, and being willing to die to that side of yourself, or even finding a healthy way to a better goal, something better to chase, as opposed to replacing that desire. Like say, I want to be a certain type of man, and like, what does that look like? And you know, but yeah, I think those are the two areas like that a lot of men struggle with. So, and I think they tie in together. So I think respect for in our culture a lot of times looks like the womanizer. It looks like the man who gets a lot of men, a lot of women. So it's like it's a cycle. It's like I'm chasing respect, but it's like it looks like me going out here trying to be the man, essentially, like getting all the women. So, but yeah,
Yeah. Now, another thing that you said there at the beginning was the pressure of success.
yes,
Like
the pressure is to be successful, like
the pressure to be
to
successful.
be successful, man. I think, um, yeah, most, especially if you're the head of the household, you want to provide well. So I think what is that? It can look different for each person, but I think you want to be able to provide well. So whatever that definition looks like, that's still a pressure that you have. And if you're not meeting that, like that can weigh on you. That can weigh on your identity because I think being a provider is a big part of our identity. We're the head of the household, so it's like that's who we are. That's who God made us. So it's like, okay, like, so especially in our culture, like it's been pushed to be. It has to look a certain way, or you have to have this certain amount or make this amount. It's just like that's not the reality. Like I think you have to judge a man by his character, and we don't get judged by that a lot. Like we don't get judged by who we are, um, how we treat people. We get judged by what we do and what we provide. So that can be hard. That can be really hard. But
Yeah, success can look different for different people. I think too, like that was one of the things, like talking about men speaking into our lives. One of the things I remember early, even though there's two folds, this originally
mhm.
coming out of high school, I felt the pressure of from my dad, who was the
Mhm.
attorney,
Oh yeah,
accounting,
man.
like
I can't even
but then
imagine.
it wasn't till I was like 21 that he finally says to me like, "Oh no, I think you're gonna be the most successful you will ever be because of a decision that you made internally, and
Uh,
that was to make Jesus Christ the Lord of your life, and
that's
then
real.
also to walk in forgiveness."
Yeah.
That was
That-
the most freeing thing to
wow, man.
me
That's powerful though.
ever.
That's
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
That's really powerful.
yeah,
Yeah. That's really, really I think, yeah, I mean, I'll speak I'll see your life, and I think you were inspiration to me just how free you were. Like, as far as, like,
mm,
you didn't strike me as someone who was very much concerned with what people thought about you, not in a bad way, but just, like, you were very much free, like, "I wanna pursue my passions, I wanna do this, I wanna help people." You were very confident
yeah,
in that. You stood in that, and I think hearing that, like, that makes sense why you were like that, like, because that
yeah,
is very free. That is, like,
yeah.
to know, like, the best decision I've already made the best decision, like, if I
I've
let
already
that
made it.
guide me, I'm already successful, so it's just like, "Alright, I get to enjoy my life now." Like, I get to
Yeah.
actually but I did notice that there was a joy that you had, and I think hearing that, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember people would be like, "You live in Guthrie?" Like, because people saw me in a certain light,
Yeah.
they didn't think that I should be living in Guthrie. Like, it was
Yeah.
like, "Nah, bro, you could be I would hear
Yeah.
things like, "You would be more successful if you didn't live in Guthrie," and things like that. I'm like, but in my head, I'm the most successful.
That I think that part like, you weren't chasing these paper crowns, like, you were literally
Yeah,
like, you were focused on what was important, and I think that
yeah,
stood out. That definitely stood out.
yeah,
That for sure stood out,
and I
man.
think that also, like, Romans 12:1, where it says, "Don't be conformed to this world."
Mm,
Like, those were early verses for me
yeah,
that really helped shape my life as well, on top of hearing this from my dad,
yeah,
and then being able to see
mhm,
my grandfather, then once he says this and I start growing in this, now
yeah,
I'm seeing my grandfather who also raised a family in Guthrie, who had
yeah,
a small church, had 13 children, like,
man.
for me to see a man like this, I'm like, he
Yeah.
was the most success I don't know how he was
Like,
even
who's more successful than that? Like,
this man
yeah,
raised 13 children on $30,000 a year, like, who's he like, what are you
hey,
talking
that's
about?
that's a win. We put that in the win column. That is a win. You hear me?
Yeah, like, because it wasn't about the
Yeah,
money. He knew God was gonna take care of him, so it wasn't
yeah,
about his kids having the most fancy thing.
yeah.
He understood he was gonna do what God called him to do as far as people, and God was gonna bless him with the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Y
that's a
you
scripture
know,
for
and
me, like, that's a scripture too, but, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things
yeah,
will be added unto you." And, like,
yeah,
that was my calling, that was my marching orders, like, "Okay, seek
yep,
God and everything else will fall into
yep.
place." Yeah. The Bible is right, man. There's so much there's wisdom there, and it's there for a reason, man.
Bible spot on, it's my flesh that jacks me up, it's my
All the time. Every single time. Every
the
single
flesh is
time.
what jacks me up every time. But
Yeah,
no,
man.
Matthew 6:33-34 were other
Yeah,
early verses
yeah,
that lines up with Romans 12:1, that lines up with
yeah,
Joshua 1:8 and 9. Like,
yeah,
those verses, man, early after my dad had told me that, then God telling me really, God had told me Monday through Sunday before my dad had told me that. My dad really
mhm,
just put it in words for me
yeah,
that I wasn't quite grasping, but he was able to put it in words for me, and then that's when
Yeah,
and still
man.
to this day, my kid like, Zell was like, "Dad, I'm aware of what a speaker can make, but you have never made that your thing." Like, he's
Yeah,
like, "I don't get it. I don't understand it. Explain it to me."
yeah.
He still says that to me today as an adult, and
That's
it's like
amazing though,
it's
Hetty. I think that's a bigger testimony than chasing the bag or chasing the stage or anything like that. Because you point to what's important. Like you kind of it's counterculture and essentially like
yeah,
that it sticks out. Like it's just like, oh, like you're happy because of that? Yeah. Like I'm
yeah,
perfectly fine. I don't need it. Like, and it's just that the whole like I keep saying it like the whole paper crown, like chasing those bags and everything like that. That's a paper crown. It may feel good in the
yeah.
moment. It may buff you up. But it won't last, man. Like that's my time and my presence is much more important than any of those things. So, but yeah,
Yeah, but
I
it's a
love that.
fight. It's everyday fight, and that's
Yeah,
the reason I think for me just figuring out this whole like I'm so passionate to see how the next 15 years, 20 years can shape around
yeah,
supporting men and young men
yeah,
because I think this is some of that conversation that I want to have is like,
for
hey
sure.
man, we got to dial in on God's word
Yeah,
and let all that other stuff so we can do the stuff that you talking about. How do we
yeah,
invest in our families? How do we be good stewards? So out of
yeah,
the overflow of that can touch our families and our kids and our
yeah, man.
community.
Yeah, no,
And
it's
that's one of
worthwhile
the things
work.
I've admired about you.
Yeah, it's worthwhile work what you're doing, man. Because I think it's being intentional about men in general is it's gonna pay dividends. That's fruit that just pays on. Like it's just I think I look at me being present in my daughter's life and the fruit that that's gonna pay. Like it's just like man, like it just men are important, and then women everybody's important, but men, we are important, bro. Like we
Yeah.
are, we make a huge difference in the development of just a family, man. We are very important. So yeah,
And it's humbling too. Like I think you got to keep in mind where Jesus looks at man and says, "Man should not be alone," and He creates His help.
yeah,
So you got to keep this humbleness about you of
for sure.
understanding, like I'm the one responsible, but at the same time, I'm the one who God said needed help.
Yeah, I know, bro. I said we are in therapy. We came out with this no banners alone. Like we cannot win anything by ourselves. Like no teams, no person hangs a banner by themselves. So it's like we need each other. Like any
Yeah,
championship or anything successful about this family is because of us. Like it's us that's doing it. So yeah, man.
that's cool. When times get hard, what for you? What are some of your spiritual tools or habits?
Getting out in nature, going for a walk, just sitting outside touching grass, like literally taking off my socks and sitting, touching grass, man. It's beneficial. I think that's more so that can look different, but at the heart of it, it's solitude.
Mm,
Getting away and just being by myself, decompressing, not having a lot of distractions, getting off my phone, and not to hate on the phone, but like just being able to set it down for a certain amount of time and just be present or just yeah, man, like reset. Just having that's been a great practice for me. Um, what else? Enjoying the gift that God has given me, man. I think pursuing different things with the arts or just not even to just put it out or to make money from it, but just to enjoy the process of being able to do something that he's gifted me to do. Like that's a great outlet for me. My family um is a huge one. My wife, my kids, my child rather. But yeah, I think those practical things outside of reading my Bible, praying, like those are some practical things I think that I try to do to stay healthy and all that. So
that's good, man.
yeah, man.
Well, okay, last question. Um, Mentorship,
Mm,
what does that look like for your life? Are
uh-huh,
you intentional with it? Why is it valuable? And
uh-huh.
I think we've kinda hit on a lot of those things, but just can you kinda close out of what that looks like? Again, kinda maybe reiterating a little bit about community. What does that
Yeah.
look like for you?
So right now, as I get older, I'm becoming less of a mentee and more of a mentor. So I think what that looks like is just being present and available for the people who are in my life, the younger men who are in my life, and being a safe place for them, and I want to say not judging, but um, being honest. And I think holding a boundary and saying, "Hey, man, the standard is here, but I'm gonna love you whether you meet it or not." Like I'm like I think letting them know that, like, and expressing that and making sure that that's known. Um, yeah, I think yeah, like the work I do at the bridge, like I'm very intentional when I go there, like knowing how important it is to have a male presence to be able to talk to an adult as a kid is huge. Like it's huge because you don't know about the world. So it's like you being able to have someone who has some life experience to glean from that, like to even just know how to carry yourself within certain spaces. Like those things are important. So like being that resource for um the next generation is where I'm at with when it comes to mentorship. I still have people in my life that I reach out to and admire. Um and so I still have mentors in that sense, but it's more so, yeah, I've become a lot of peers with a lot of my mentors, I think. So a lot of my,
Yeah.
the like losing my grandfather, I think he was the last, I guess, tier of like, um, yeah, mentor, like, but everybody else is I'm become more of a peer, and it's like, but I still,
Yeah.
there's an obvious respect level there, but it's a little different. The dynamic is a little different. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
No, that's true. I
yeah.
always say I just try to keep and the older I get, the harder this is, but try to keep somebody 20 years older in my life,
Yeah.
and then I'm always trying to invest back into
Yeah,
somebody, so
yeah. So I'm kinda in that space now trying to figure out what that looks like, but I'm definitely, intentional about being available to the next generation. So, yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, man.
Man, Sean Johnson, I sure do appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. This was dope. This was fun. This was good, man. It was good. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, man. Keep doing what you're doing, keep being working at being a great husband and a
I'm
great
trying.
father, and
Yes, sir.
it definitely makes a difference.
Yes,
I
sir.
tell people the greatest witness that I think I can have is how I treat my wife, because I
Yep.
should be loving her as Christ loves the church. I should always be able to
Absolutely.
point back to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Thank you for
So,
that reminder, bro. Love you, Hattie.
hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of Learning from Men podcast, where I am on a mission to learn from men so I can better serve men. Shout out to 5+2 after school program. Shout out to Men of Jesus, roundtables, all the things that supports us to be able to do what we do. Go in.